Am I the asshole for being rude to a woman who yelled at me for using the disabled toilet? I have an ileostomy. This means that I have had my colon removed and I have a stoma. This is on my stomach and it's where my poop comes out from into an attached bag. You usually can't see it and it doesn't look as though I have any kind of disability, although it is legally classed as a disability. To empty it, I need to kneel by the toilet and I rinse it out with water. I fill a travel bottle up in the toilet and use this to rinse out the bag. Not rinsing is gross because of needing to kneel and have water on hand. I need to use the disabled toilets whenever I can. I have a radar key to get me into them. It was given to me after I had my surgery. Using a non-disabled toilet is very difficult. Hard to kneel. Very little privacy and no sink on hand. Today I was at MS and had to empty my bag, so used the disabled toilet as usual. FYI, almost all disabled toilets have signs on them that say not all disabilities are visible. When I tried to come out of the toilet, my way was blocked by a woman who started to berate me for using the disabled toilet. Apparently she saw me go in and had been waiting for me to come out. She was stopping me from leaving and threatening to call the staff. I tried to tell her that I need to use that toilet and showed her my special radar key. She just kept getting angrier and angrier and louder and louder. We had a crowd by this time. In desperation, I finally pulled up my shirt and slid my trousers down a bit and showed her my ileostomy bag. I pointed out the sign on the door that said not all disabilities are visible. I told her she was ignorant, needed to learn to mind her own business. I then told her to F off and get out of my way. Am I the asshole for being so rude? I know I should have been nicer, but she would not stop blocking me in the toilet. Not the asshole. I had a friend once who parked in a disabled bay and was yelled at by someone nearby. He waited for them to finish, then removed his prosthetic leg. They went white as a sheet and got out of there pretty fast. If you are so much of an ass that you have a go at a stranger in public, boing nothing about them, you deserve everything you get if it blows up in your face. Am I the asshole for being so rude? I know I should have been nicer. You were exactly as rude as you needed to be. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Honestly, I hate people like this. One of my shittier encounters was also in an MS, where someone had seen me, decided I don't look disabled and gone to town. I don't know what narrative these people have in their heads. Whether or not they think they're standing up for disabled people by being absolute dicks. They're not. Not at all. They're just showing their ignorance. You were absolutely not the R for standing up for yourself. This lady was a bully and was trying to intimidate you. Not the asshole. That woman got exactly what she was asking for. She was rude, uncouth and ignorant. The only thing you did was highlight how big of an entitled R she was being. I too have an invisible disability, and it's hard when people want to judge just by what they can see. The disability toilet is for all disabilities, and in many places I've gone, it's also where the baby changing station happens to be located. Not the asshole. She decided to have a confrontation in a public toilet. Not you. Once she started yelling, all bets were off. You don't look disabled. You didn't look stupid until you opened your mouth. Not the asshole in any way, shape or form. How disgusting and entitled to judge someone solely based on appearance. Like you said, not all disabilities are visible. I hate that you were treated that way. Not the asshole. It's not like a parking spot. Even if you weren't disabled, Disabled bathrooms are disabled accessible, not reserved. Half the time they are also the only ones with a changing table. There's only one rude person in your story and it's not you, not the asshole. Not the asshole. These self-righteous disability gatekeepers make life more difficult for everyone. Absolutely not the asshole. Good heavens. What a rude person that lady is to think that blocking someone into a bathroom stall is even acceptable and then demeaning you on top of it. Yikes, I applaud your patience and many attempts at decency before resorting to exposing your medical condition like that. I had a friend years ago who also had a bag. And I learned a lot from her. So much delicate care anyway. Rest assured you are in no way at fault in this scenario. Blessings to you. I don't know about the US. But in Canada a disabled toilet is not treated the same as a disabled parking spot. They are to be used by anyone, though obviously if standard toilets are available a non-disabled person should use that. The disabled toilet is not restricted to disabled persons only. Not the asshole. I hope she felt really bad. Silly cow. Not the asshole. She absolutely deserved it. Sorry you had to go through that. Not the asshole. I hate these people who just assume they want to be a hero. But they're just being jerks, and oftentimes people like you who have invisible disabilities often get berated and yelled at for no reason. People. Mind your own business. Not the asshole. I have a bag too. Check my history. I mention it over the years. This has happened to me. I reacted exactly how you did. Sometimes. Showing it is the only thing that shuts people up. Not the asshole. Oh, honey, you weren't rude enough to that a hole. Not the asshole. She's in the same category as old people who are furious when a young person legitimately parks in a disabled bay. People like that need dressing down in public. Well done. You should not have been nicer at all. Her behavior did not warrant nicer. Her behavior warranted exactly what she got. Why should you explain your disability to her? It is zero business of hers. Who does she think she is to stand outside of a disabled toilet and assume? As the sign said, not all disabilities are visible. She is not the disability police to stand waiting to harass you for using a facility you need and are entitled to use without having to explain to people like that. Not the asshole. Why should you have been nicer? You should have been ruder, IMO. Not the asshole should have started with F off, mind your own business. Definitely not the asshole. People like this should mind their own business. Not the asshole. You should have had her arrested for blocking your way. That's illegal in many places. Not the asshole. You were not rude. You were defending yourself. I hate those self-appointed bathroom police people. Not the asshole. What you said was 100 spot on. She needs to mind her own business, and it was indeed time for her to F off. Not the asshole. Not every disability is visible. It doesn't even take a sign on the door to know that. Not the asshole. I'm sorry you felt you had to reveal that much about yourself to a stranger in public. You never should have needed to. That woman was so disgustingly out of line. You weren't rude. You were cornered, harassed, and did what you needed to do. I really don't understand the growing obsession with policing people's bathroom usage. Am I the asshole for not wanting my daughter to be homeschooled? I F23 have 4 kids, F5, F3, F3, and F1, and I'm also expecting my 5th child. So as you can probably tell from the ages, I'm overwhelmed with my kids and extremely exhausted by the end of the day. My husband works long shifts, so I primarily take care of the kids. My husband M27 wants a big family and I honestly don't think I'm equipped to handle the load of having any more children after this one. So I asked my husband if I could get a nanny to just come twice a week or put the kids in a day camp. He's against daycare because of the bad reputation it gets and the nanny. He thinks it can get pricey, so he suggested that maybe this upcoming school year I homeschool my eldest and have her help me out. But I really don't agree with that. For starters, she's only 5 and I already feel bad for the little things she does do by keeping her sisters entertained when I'm busy with housework, and lastly, I was homeschooled for the majority of my school years and I honestly hated it and wish I went to public school. My husband now thinks I'm not taking into consideration his parenting choices and that I'm being selfish by not wanting to come to some sort of agreement regarding this. A lot of people in my life would probably agree with him. So I need an unbiased perspective. Am I the asshole? Edit. So many questions. So for starters, I'm not in any harm's way, and yes, we are part of a religion. I don't want to make the post strictly about that. Also, me and my husband both came from big families. Like, I'm 6 of 10 kids, but I knew that he would wanted a big family as well. But I just didn't think I would be entirely alone doing it, or it would just happen so fast. But I appreciate everyone's advice and input and I'm completely fine. I'm just overwhelmed and tired. No. 5 children in nearly as many years is not physically good for you. If you think you're done after this one, ask them to tie your tubes while you deliver this one. 5 kids under 6 is a lot of physical work. Adding homeschooling to the mix is too much. When does he think you'll have the time to do lessons? Literally. When? And asking your 5-year-old to become your co-parent company housewife is a terrible idea. She's a small child and needs to be your child. What is wrong with this man that he thinks these are good ideas? He wants to put the 5-year-old to work in the house instead of sending her to school. Get IUD and control having children on your own. It sounds like your husband is controlling and being cheap. He wants a 5-year-old to essentially become a co-parent. That is utterly preposterous. Not the asshole. This is the hill to die on. You are already exhausted with 4. And are about to have a 5th. Your husband doesn't seem to grasp what is involved with raising that many small children. Homeschooling will only make things worse. Both for you and, more importantly, the 5-year-old. She needs the opportunity to go out and socialize. And you need an adult helper, nanny or some such like you suggested. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Don't have any more children with this man. He has no concept of what's involved with raising kids. If he's not willing to support them, which includes childcare, then he should not have them. Have her help you out. She's 5. If you want to homeschool your kids because you think you can provide an education that is better suited to them than the public schools, then I'm all in favor of it. But this sounds like he wants you to homeschool her so that she can learn to be mini-mom, rather than get an actual education. If you think homeschooling your kids is less work than sending them to public school, you're not doing it right. X200B. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Homeschooling a 5-year is just adding another kid you need to manage and supervise. Unless you're not actually doing the work to homeschool her properly. Send the 5-year to school. So you only have 4 kids to manage during the school day. Cut back on the housework. Not the asshole. You're correct. If I read this correctly, he wants a 5-year-old to homeschool so they can help raise the other children he wanted. It's not fair to your oldest in terms of her life or her education. If his plan is for each child to help raise the next. Read a few more Am I the Asshole? Posts where children are unhappy with their home life and parents due to that exact upbringing. Kids deserve a childhood. Your question was about homeschooling. You're not an R for wanting your kids to attend regular school regardless of his parenting wishes. Edit for clarity. You husband wants a big family. You are working on your 5th child right now. That is a big family. By today's standards. Maybe this upcoming school year I homeschool my eldest and have her help me out. He wants a 5-year-old to help you raise the younger ones. That is awful. He wants to parentify a 5-year-old child. You two need to stop having children. You are going to be a physical wreck. You have been pregnant every other year since you were 17 or 18 years old. Put the oldest in public school. Not the asshole for wanting your oldest to be in public school. Not the asshole. You should be looking for a divorce lawyer, not a nanny. His suggestion that your 5-year-old help raise the kids is so stupid it sounds made up. Get your tubes tied and don't tell him. At the very least you already have a huge family. I have 3 boys, 10, 8, and 5. The 10-year is just starting to do some chores. WTF is the 5-year supposed to help you out with? Not the asshole. Your husband is nuts. 4 kids at 23. Oh boy. You need a snip, kid. Not the asshole. Your husband is ridiculous. He expects to take a 5-year-old out of school and have her help you out. What a terrible parent. And how dare he expect you to give him a big family and then throw your and apparently your eldest children's lives away taking care of them. His parenting choices, which he is forcing on you, and doing virtually nothing himself, while wanting to parentify a 5-year-old. And it sounds like he courted and married you when you were 16, 17. Too young to stand up for yourself. Not the asshole. But he is. And he's refusing to respect your limitations. Tell him you'll talk about coming to an agreement once he has spent 3 days alone with the 4 kids and has some perspective on your point of view. Not the asshole, but for the love of all, please stop having kids. Info Haven T. You discussed nannies and homeschooling and agreed on how you two want to raise your kids before having tons of kids. Not the asshole. You are selfish. Tell your husband to look in the mirror. You are the one doing the work. If you don't want more kids, don't. What you have will be a large family. Homeschooling would not be the right decision and a very poor parenting decision to make. Your oldest care for the younger ones. Not her job. Not the asshole, and you're in an abusive relationship. Leave that man. Also, I feel sorry for you. You're 22. You should not have to deal with a kid. Let alone 5. Think long and hard about what you want for your future. Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend's mother he can't have kids? When I told my friends what happened, they told me that I should have never put his business out. They're like that. But my other friend says that they were going to find out anyway. Am I the asshole for telling his mother the truth? Not the asshole. Your BF was willing to let you take all the heat for something he should have shut down. He's a coward and your mill is a nightmare. Oh honey. I saw this before and I did not like the ending. In their case, those people were married. The husband lets their wife get belittled and take all the blame while they're the one with the issues, but the moment their wife speaks up and defends themselves, They're seen as tar. Sure, it's not your business to air out his medical issues, but what were you supposed to do? His mom was thinking it's your fault and he just let her talk to you like that. Not the asshole who talks to 2021 yos about having a baby. Like yikes. Not the asshole. Mike is a coward for not defending you when she disrespected you like that. Entire Mike was fine with you taking the blame. He could have told his mom that the choice was yours as a couple. He could have told her that it wasn't any of her business. Instead, he let you take the blame. If he wanted it to stay a secret, then he had to take the initiative to end his mother's questions. Not just expect you to take her abuse. Not the asshole based on I feel his cowardice put you in a position where you had to defend yourself. And you chose to tell the truth. A lot of comments make it out that you acted out of spite. I didn't see that. If you had, you wouldn't be so shocked about your boyfriend's response. Which, by the way, is more cowardice. She seems overbearing and very closed-minded. He's obviously got some boundaries issues in regards to her, and you are stuck in the middle of that dynamic, having to fend for yourself. I probably would have reacted the same. Good luck. Not the asshole you shouldn't have told his private business. But his mother was sitting there repeatedly bullying you. And your BF was doing absolutely nothing. I have a really hard time calling you an A. I was going to put esh, but man. I am going to say not the asshole. Mike should have never tolerated his mother's vile comments to you. He should have at least tried to shut her up as his father tried. I am not sure why all the secrecy. But it was his to protect as well, and simply pretending this conversation wasn't happening is what threw you under the bus. Maybe it's time he accepted whatever decision he made or the situation that created his infertility. And stopped expecting to hide behind you. You felt anything but supported during her interrogation and ugly comments, and he chose to let it happen. You need better friends and a better boyfriend. He lost any right to the privacy of his personal business when he sat there and let his mother insult you. Dump him. And consider dumping the friends who sided with him too. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. This is a red flag. His mother felt so comfortable disrespecting you. Calling you fat. That weak sources man didn't defend you. Lets her blame you. If your relationship is over, you are better off. Weak sources is a mama boy and is destined to a horrible partner. Not the asshole. If he was going to try to let that conversation run its course, he can only have expected you to deflect things back to him. His mother sounds like a piece of work. Entire. You deserve better than Mike. It's absolutely disgusting that he let his family go off on you about your weight and your lack of kids. He has no balls to stand up to them. And when it became about him, he kicked you out. Honestly, honey, find someone who respects and loves you. And even better, whose mom is not an antagonizing asshole. Info: how does a 21-year-old man suddenly find out he can't have kids? Not the asshole the moment he let his mother berate you repeatedly for something that was his fault is the wrong ailment. Issue condition was the moment he lost the right to have you protect his secret. If he doesn't want his family to know, then he doesn't have to tell them. But he absolutely needs to be the one shutting his mother down. His desire to keep his medical information secret ends when he lets you take all the abuse for it. Not the asshole. You were being disrespected and you defended yourself as you should. Your boyfriend should have stood up for you, then it probably wouldn't have escalated. TBH. If I were you, I would peace out of that relationship. His mom doesn't like you and he doesn't stand up for you. Sounds like misery. You deserve so much better. Good luck. Not the asshole. Mike had a whole host of opportunities to shut down that conversation and those insults, and he sat there like a lump in tar. But you have a boyfriend problem. You need to find someone who will be honest with his family and who will stand up for you. This does not seem the case. You will always be too. That should not be. Cut your losses. Not the asshole. I'm seething. Girl, if you don't dump him, you'd be an martyr yourself. This guy not only saw you being humiliated by his mother and did nothing, but had the audacity to get mad at you when the conversation shifted to him. Please do yourself a favor and kick him out. You deserve way better than him for a partner and his mom for a mill. Yourself for disclosing medical information that you were trusted with. Mike's mother for being a disgusting harpy. Mike for not defending you from his disgusting mother's disgusting comments. I'm glad no one started laughing at her fat phobia. But come on. Take this as a learning moment. Are these the people you want to be around for the rest of your life? To negotiate special events with? To be at your wedding? Not the asshole. And take it from someone who's married to a man who never sticks up for his wife. Especially not to his mother. It doesn't get better and only gets worse. Well, since he wasn't defending you, there was no reason for you to bear the brunt of her hectoring. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. And you need to leave Mike. He tossed you under the giant bus that is his mother. He doesn't care about you, only saving himself. In tar, he could have done something and didn't. You disclosed info that wasn't yours to disclose. Mom for obviously asking a super personal question at dinner and slewing insults at you. Mike for saying nothing at all. He totally needed to speak up for you, then of course also for kicking you out. Not the asshole. I usually don't like to jump the gun, but his mother is straight up calling you fat repeatedly and he doesn't shoot that shit down ASAP. Your boyfriend is a coward and spineless when it comes to his mommy. He only starts speaking up against you when you have to fend for yourself against the mom. I'd dump his ass honestly, lol. Thank you for all the feedback, relieved face, red heart, but I still believe that a simple conversation could have fixed it. Him not being able to have kids isn't some super secret because his friends and my friends knows. And I believe his father knows his mother is just a piece of work, but I respect all of your options. Info: how did your BF get to know he can't father a child? Not the asshole. And you want to build a future with this guy? Really? Mama's boy. Never a good choice. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for ignoring a guy that made me uncomfortable? I recently went on a trip with my friend organized by my uni class. On the first day, this guy from another class approached us and asked if he could join us for lunch. We noticed that everyone else in his class was avoiding him, but we thought he was lonely, so we agreed for him to eat with us. Immediately it's clear why his classmates ignore him. He seems to be unaware of most of social clues and has uncommon hobbies. However, I try to be nice to him. My friend on the other side keeps being rude to him and acts very bothered by his presence. The trip goes on and the guy keeps staring at us from afar. Tries to interact with us, despite us clearly showing we want to be by ourselves. He asks both me and my friend for our numbers to go out for drinks later that night. We say no. However, he waits until I am alone and corners me asking again for my number. I give in since professors are close by and I don't want to cause a scene. Maybe this is where I made a mistake. Throughout the day he starts complimenting me, specifically my physical appearance. I do not engage with him. Then he starts complaining that I never speak, that still he knows nothing about me. Professors jump in on that, agreeing that I am extra quiet. I admit I am sensitive about this topic, so I start becoming extra uncomfortable. This constant bother continues, with him complaining that I am not speaking enough, that I am not smiling, etc. I was already uncomfortable at this point. I make a joke to my friend I see a bed exposed in a shop window, saying I was so tired I would gladly go sleep there. The guy chimes in, commenting that lots of people would surely pay to look at me. My friend scolds him for being a creep and he plays dumb. Later that night we go to dinner and this guy of course sits in front of me. My friend sits next to me, but with her back directed towards me throughout the whole dinner. So I am forced to interact with this guy, while professors keep teasing me because I am so quiet. My friend even encourages the guy to keep talking to me, despite me previously telling her I was very uncomfortable. In the end the guy asks me to go out together. I refuse, saying I am very busy at this point. I was panicking and I was so stupid not to say I am in a relationship or that I am not interested. He keeps insisting and I keep rejecting him. Finally the dinner ends, and I am very upset both at him and at my friend for not helping me at all through this uncomfortable situation. The first day we are all back home. He texts me, "How are you?" OFC I don't reply, since I am still bothered. My friend however tells me I was being too harsh on him. Am I the asshole? I feel like I gave him so many signals that I was not interested and he actively chose to ignore them. On the other side, maybe I was not clear enough on not being interested in him. Not the asshole. It sounds like he made the entire trip horrible for you, and your friends and professors did nothing to help you. That sucks and I'm sorry. But you need to block that creep now. Not the asshole, but next time, if you feel safe, use your words. "I'm not interested. Please leave me us alone." Goes a long way. Your friend is definitely an R for encouraging the guy though. Not the asshole. Except you shouldn't have given him your number. So what if your professors are close by and it might create a scene? Let him be made a spectacle of if he won't leave you alone. And you should have piped right up when your professors agreed that you were being quiet and told them the guy was harassing you and saying creepy, inappropriate things to you. Never be afraid of public opinion when someone is harassing you. It's about them, not you. You're the victim. You should go around to the professors and tell them what was going on and how you felt like nobody had your back. Not the asshole. He has no right to your time or attention. In the instance that this happens again, you may have to be more blunt. Very, very blunt. Not the asshole. Not harsh enough in my opinion. You rejected him once. After that you're allowed to go off a little bit. Not the asshole. He is creepy and you need to block him. Being polite to him has not worked. OMG, not the asshole. Holy shit. It pains me to see how many women still have to deal with these clearly violating situations. That man has no right to behave the way he is behaving around you, whether or not you gave in. Don't beat yourself up for saying yes out of discomfort. What you should do now is be as assertive as you can with him in front of the rest of your social circle and reject him. Make it very clear that you feel uncomfortable. If he escalates his creepiness, get an authority involved. Your safety is your top priority. Not the asshole. But it's important to learn how to say no. Don't expect people to get hints. Be clear. You don't owe politeness to anyone. Build some boundaries and stand up for yourself. Not the asshole. I was so stupid not to say I am in a relationship. Not true. No is a full sentence. You don't need an excuse. Not the asshole. 1. This dude is giving mega creepy vibes. 2. Your friend is a hypocrite. She is allowed to be rude to him, but when you are declining his advances, you are harsh. 3. The fact that you expressed your fear and uneasiness to your friend yet she ignored you and forced an interaction with him is major red flag. 4. What kind of professors comment on a student quietness? This type of behavior is what forces introverted people to feel uncomfortable with themselves. To add, how dense are these teachers that they can't see this creep is making you uncomfortable. Absolutely pathetic at their jobs. I'm not even going to read this and say no. You are never obligated to pay attention to someone who is making you uncomfortable. Full stop. Period. End of sentence. Not the asshole. I am uncomfortable even reading this. Shame on those professors. Report this to the school if you see him again and he says anything more than hello to you. Not the asshole. Personally, I'd let him know I wasn't interested much sooner than you did. But you're home and away from him now. It's okay to just let this go. Maybe block his number. Not the asshole. And you are not stupid for saying you were busy instead of something else. Like you're already in a relationship or not interested. He should have taken the hint long before it got to that point. And you were being soft with him because he was scaring you. You know men can be dangerous when they're being rejected. And you were doing what felt safest so as to not set this weirdo off. Everyone here failed you. Your friend is not your friend. And fuck those professors. 2. Not the asshole at all. You gave a lot of clear signals that you weren't interested and he kept being an absolute trash can of a person. I'm also really irritated with your pushy, unhelpful friend and those clueless professors, unless they were those kind of people who say he's teasing you cause he likes you, then they're even worse. Block his number ASAP and tell your friend they're an asshole. Lol. Not the asshole. Block him. In future, don't give out your number and don't be afraid to make a scene when someone is making you uncomfortable. They deserve to be uncomfortable as well, and the more eyes on you in these situations, the safer you will be. Am I the asshole for not letting my partner name our unborn child? I am currently nearly full term, 35 weeks, and the conversation of what to name our daughter has been brought up a few times this week, and it's always ended in an argument. The name of our daughter was decided quite early on in my pregnancy, and it was my partner's idea for the name choice. She is being named after my partner's friend who sadly passed away while serving in the British Army. I wasn't too sure on the name when I first heard it, but it did grow on me after a few weeks, and he also turned down every single name I mentioned. When I say close to 20 different names and he didn't like any of them, he was pretty much set on naming her after his late friend. The idea of middle names got brought up and he straight away said that his mum would be happy if we gave her his mother's middle name, and I didn't hate that idea, but what I didn't like is how he said it, like he expected me to agree. I've never had an issue with his side of the family. They are nice and friendly people, very easy to get along with, never had any issues. I told my partner that either I picked her middle name or she didn't have one because he chose her first name. And also, I'm not a huge fan of the middle name in question, but that's not the point. He straight away turned it down and said his mum told him how happy she would be if our daughter got her middle name, and I just don't agree with that. I also gave him another opinion. Our daughter can have his mum's middle name, but she gets my last name, and again he didn't agree, and then again I stated, well, she just doesn't get one then if we cannot agree, and he said how his whole family has a tradition where everybody must have a middle name. Am I being responsible with my arguments, or am I not being responsible whatsoever? Not the asshole. Why does he get to decide all names? Honestly, I wouldn't want to be with a man that wouldn't meet me in the middle with something like this. I would stand my ground on her getting my last name. Not the asshole. You're willing to compromise. Your partner is not. Don't be a doormat. Not the asshole. 2 yeses, 1 no situation. Stand your ground or resent him. Not the asshole. He shouldn't expect you to be happy with everything he wants. It's not just his child, but yours too. You should have a choice. The idea of middle names got brought up, and he straight away said that his mum would be happy if we gave her his mother's middle name, and I didn't hate that idea, but what I didn't like is how he said it, like he expected me to agree. This is because he does expect you to agree. In fact, he expects you to agree with all his opinions and none of yours. You do see that, right? I'd die on this hill, as he clearly has no respect for your opinion on this topic. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. It sounds like a red flag, honestly, that he isn't open to any compromise. As a fellow pregnant woman, deciding on a name is incredibly hard, but it sounds like he's making a unilateral decision and does not care about your opinion. Makes me nervous for future disagreements on parenting styles. Who is this guy? Is he always this self-absorbed and self-important? Is he a bully in other areas? Has he shown that he can collaborate, share and compromise in other ways? If not, you've got way bigger problems than a name. Let this thread ripen up and send it to him. We'll tell him he's being an ass even if he won't listen to you. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. This is something that you need to decide together. Said his mum told him how happy she would be if our daughter got her middle name. He's way out of line getting her involved. You're the one he needs to keep happy. His friend. His mother and his family traditions. No. Not the asshole. Child names have to be agreed upon by both parties. One person cannot unilaterally decide your child's name if you are not also happy with that name. Not the asshole. You've offered compromises and he's refused all of them and rejects all your suggestions. From your use of the word partner instead of husband, remember that in the UK he is not allowed to legally register the baby. Only you can do that. In the time you have before baby is born, consider your relationship. I don't know if I could be with someone so uninterested in compromise. Especially over something so important. This is definitely a hill to die on because it will be with you forever. Not the asshole. TBH. This sounds like the problems in your relationship go much deeper than just naming your child. Though that is obviously still important. I think you two need to have a serious discussion about decision making related to your daughter going forward. Not the asshole. He's making all the decisions about the baby name and not giving you any say. And he's manipulating you into doing so. This is setting off alarms in my brain. Let me put this out there. Think back to all the decisions y'all have had to make as a couple where you didn't agree. How many of those decisions did he actually compromise on? Now how many did you? I'm going to wager that if you really think about it, you'll see that you did most, if not all, of the compromising. And that when you did get your way, it was met with anger or sulking or some sort of punishment. Not the asshole. Don't name children after dead people. Children aren't living memorials. They deserve the right to have their own name. Fight the first name and give him the middle name. Not the asshole. I hope he isn't always this controlling. Not the asshole. I can't see how you'd be irresponsible. But he's being overbearing. You accepted his choice of first name. Now it's your turn to pick the middle name. He doesn't get to choose both names. You both are parents and should equally decide on your child's name. You are being reasonable with splitting first, middle and last name. Him getting upset is not fair to you, and making his mother happy is not the point of raising a child. You have a right to name your child whatever you want as long as you and your husband both agree. Not the asshole. Tell him your child can have a first and middle name. But he can only choose one. You will have the other. He can decide who he wants to honor more, his mate or his mother. If you have another child in the future, you swap over. You need to be firm that you will not compromise. And this is your hill to die on. Not the asshole. Names are a 2 yes, 1 no sort of situation. And your partner is not willing to compromise at all. Not the asshole, but baby names shouldn't be tit-for-tat compromises. You all need to find a name you both like. Not the asshole. He wants to get to pick every part of your kid's name. That's not cool. You both will raise her. You both helped create her. So you both get a say in the name. If he wants to pick the first name, you get the middle. Fair is fair. Not the asshole. I am pretty sure in most developed countries the mother can dictate who comes in and out of a delivery room, I'm assuming not married. And you get to decide the kid's name in the end. So they can ask. But you get to ultimately decide. It's your kid too, and you get ultimate voice. Not the asshole. Currently 7 months pregnant with a girl, and we couldn't decide on a name either. So we compromised. I gave her her first name. He's picking her middle name. And with the rest of our kids we'll switch back and forth. No one person should have 100 say in naming a child that will be equally yours. If you're not married, give the baby your last name on the birth certificate, as his name will still be listed as father. That way when it ends you don't have a constant reminder of his last name when you move on. Am I the asshole for not wanting to stay at an expensive resort for a destination wedding? So 2 friends are getting married in Mexico. On the closeness scale I'd say we are a 5-10. We are not in the wedding party or invited to the bachelor party. They are getting married at a wedding venue restaurant, I think. And then have a block of rooms at an expensive resort, won't say the name, but minimum is $500 per night per room. A group of us friends were invited. We all have different economic situations. 3 friends could not afford to stay at the resort. We all found a different resort 5 minutes away that is around $75 per night, so we're going to pay like $400 total, which is less than 1 night at the other place. We were planning on take a taxi to from the wedding. We are going to stay for 4 nights to make a mini vacation out of it. Found out the bride and a bridesmaid are upset with us for not staying at the resort where there is a block. Basically saying it is selfish to make a vacation out of a wedding and that we should stay at the resort with everyone else. I agree we should have given them a heads up, I guess, but I am so confused why they are so mad when it comes down to people not being able to afford the place. Am I the asshole Not the asshole. They're mad because they're probably getting some kind of kickback from the resort for every room that's booked in their block of reserved rooms that frequently happens in the US. In fact, you might contact the wedding resort for a room without saying you're with the wedding party. You might find the price is much lower. I've had that experience with wedding blocks. I bet you anything the couple were getting a discount on the wedding based on how many people booked. You have no obligation to stay at the same resort. It's ridiculous to expect people to fly abroad for your wedding and to make a vacation out of it. Enjoy your holiday and ignore them. All you owe them is an RSVP. Getting a block of rooms for your guests is fine, but they are not obligated to use it. Personally, I make a practice of staying elsewhere when I attend destination weddings. I want to enjoy the rest of my stay and not get caught up in all wedding all the time. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. They're likely getting free rooms for of guests. It's why they invited 5-10 friends to a destination wedding. X200B. They are selfish and you should just vacation without the wedding. Not the asshole. You are not making a vacation out of her destination wedding, you're finding a way to afford attending her destination wedding. If the bride is so upset that all of her guests are not staying at her resort, then she should have negotiated a better price for the rooms for everyone. Or, at the very least, she should have the basic understanding that people's financial backgrounds are different. Not the asshole. It's a destination wedding. Why is it a destination? Because people want to go there for a vacation. If they did not want anyone staying anywhere else, that should have been in the invite. If they didn't want people staying elsewhere, they would have balanced the financial ability of the people they were inviting with the cost of the venue versus close by places. Seems the only selfish ones were the bridemaid who picked the venue and feel it reflects on them. You may be in Mexico, not 110 fawning over the bride in her glory. Not the asshole. She is losing $$ because the blocked rooms aren't fully booked. The bride is an AH. If she wanted everyone to stay at her chosen destination, then she should have paid for it. Good luck, op. Not the asshole. They're likely pissed off because typically when you reserve a block of rooms for an event like a wedding, the resort will comp the bride and groom's room if they sell out all the rooms in the block. That's not your problem. Not the asshole. What a weird thing to get hung up on. Why would anyone care where their guests sleep after their wedding? Only thing I can think of is they are getting some kind of discount at the resort based on the number of people who stay there and not enough people are signing up. Not the asshole. They're acting as sales agents for the expensive place to get free stuff. Not the asshole. If this is what allows you to attend, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, if she keeps pushing, just cancel the trip altogether. Not the asshole. Destination weddings and the price of weddings in general are getting out of hand. Around 2010, my daughter was invited to a good friend's destination wedding in Jamaica. It was going to cost her $3,000. It was a dear friend. But my daughter just couldn't afford it. People that plan destination weddings need to understand that some people, even very good friends, won't be able to make it. In this case, you're going, but staying a few minutes away. I think that's fine. If the couple is too upset about it, just don't go. Not the asshole. Destination weddings are selfish. Not trying to save money and make the most of your trip. I didn't have a destination wedding, but a lot of my family and friends lived about 10 hours away from us and where the wedding took place. We had rooms at the hotel attached to the venue, but actively advised people to find cheaper options. if possible. It was $200,300 night and we knew that was cost prohibitive for some people, so we sent him Airbnb links, cheaper hotels, etc. because it's an inconvenience to travel and we appreciated they were making the effort to come at all. As others said, the bride is getting some discount based on the number of rooms guests book. One thing to check though is if there is a fee for off-site guests to attend the wedding. Many of these resorts will charge extra or not allow guests to attend the wedding if they are not staying at the property. Not the asshole. If they feel it is so important to stay at the resort, then they can cover it on their dime, not yours. And let's be real. Do the newlyweds want to spend their entire time entertaining their guests and wedding party? I think not. They are going to disappear after the wedding and do their own thing. You can do the same thing and not feel guilty about it. Not the asshole. You are choosing rooms you can afford, and even if you could afford it, I wouldn't want to spend $500 a night for a room for a wedding. Also, even if you would make a vacation put of it, so what? That's your business. And I think quite some people do that when going to destination weddings. That they add a few days before or after for vacation. Definitely not the asshole. It's her prerogative to choose an expensive place for her destination wedding, but she has to understand that not everyone can afford you stay there. In my opinion, she's lucky you're coming at all. It's already an expensive endeavor without paying for an expensive resort to boot. Go if you wanna go, but don't feel bad about making sure the trip fits in your budget. Not the asshole. Also, they very likely have a block of rooms for guests to book as part of a deal with the resort to have their own stay paid for or made significantly cheaper for themselves. It's common practice for resorts to do this to get guests. Not the asshole. Most people justify their choice of a destination wedding to guests by telling them they can turn it into a vacation. My guess is they have to personally pay if their block isn't fully reserved. Not the asshole. You're close enough for a destination wedding invite, but not bachelorette parties. That is wild to me. Sounds like they needed to fill X number of rooms at the resort or something to get theirs free. Also, a consideration is most of those resorts are all-inclusive. So if they are hosting wedding events leading up to the wedding, you most likely can't go if it's at their resort.